Math sucks. If you're a math teacher, you've probably heard this more than once. And honestly, sometimes you might agree. And there are two main reasons students often think this. One is because math often feels abstract and disconnected. And two, creating engaging math activities can be difficult because it takes hours. But over the last few years, I've been trying to change that in my classroom. I've used AI and other tech tools to create incredible resources. I've done Survivor, The Amazing Race, Minute to Win It Math Edition, and today I'm going to show you how to do the same. Let's take a look at how to make math more engaging for your students. The easiest way to make math engaging is to make the students care about it. For students to be engaged in a lesson, they need to make some sort of connection with the content. And I found the easiest way to do that is to add a theme to your lesson. And it's actually quite easy to do this. Right here, I've got a typical lesson plan that my school would use. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this lesson to ChatGPT. And then I'm going to request that the AI makes this lesson themed. And you can literally choose from anything in the world. So gauge what your students are interested in and then make the requests to the AI. For this example, I'm going to use Roblox. My kids are annoyingly obsessed with it. And then the AI will get to work creating you a Roblox themed lesson. And it's going to stick to the exact same structure as before, but it will rewrite everything to be themed. We can see now that our examples, our practice tasks, our activities are all themed around Roblox. And I guarantee you the kids are going to love it. If you're using a lesson generator like Tutero, you can also add a real world context. On the last phase of your lesson creation screen, you'll see this. And I've got a few kids in my class that are obsessed with the NFL. So let's add an NFL theme to my lesson. There's over 300 contexts to choose from, so very handy. And we can see now I have an NFL percentages slideshow. I'll have an example of how percentages are applied. I'll have questions that are differentiated with that NFL theme. And I'll even have an open-ended discussion prompt that can wrap up my lesson. In your class though, you are going to have students that are interested in many different things. So one theme might not fit everyone. Here's a really easy way that I tend to get around that. Let's say my students are doing independent practice. I've got a set of questions here that they're going to be completing, but I want every single student to be engaged and connecting it to something they care about. What I'll typically do is I'll email the students the questions, they will copy and paste it into ChatGPT, and then I tell them to do this. I get them to type in, keep the questions the same, but make them themed around, and students insert a topic. So let's say they love soccer. They would make this prompt then, and now the student has a set of soccer related questions. The reason I get students to do this themselves is because they know what they're interested in. And then I also don't have to do any extra work. They can all do it independently. And best part is they're still meeting all of their learning objectives. This here is a slightly different AI called Claude. And it has the ability to create games. You can literally create whatever you want, but here are two great examples. So we can see my prompt here. I've asked it to create me a Space Invaders style game, but it's also going to have a math component. And you'll see here on the right-hand side, it's produced me an interactive game that my students can play. So it's a Space Invaders style game. They will have to shoot the correct answer. And if they get it wrong 3 times, they're done. This is a really great way to get students engaged, they're learning at the same time, and they're going to actually have fun in your lesson. Let's say some kids would prefer doing a puzzle style activity. So we can see my prompt here. I've asked it to create me that escape room. I've given it the grade and the topic that we're working on. And in about a minute or so, it's produced me an interactive escape room for my students. So if I click Start Adventure, it'll have a secret code they need to find out, and they'll have a bunch of different percentage questions they'll have to answer. So I've turned what could be boring, mundane questions into engaging activities for them, and it really required no effort at all. AI is also an incredible tool for brainstorming. I mentioned at the start of the video, I made both a Survivor math game and an Amazing Race math game, and most of this came from AI. I basically had it brainstorm for me. I asked it to generate me some ideas based on TV shows, and then it came up with a bunch of ideas like this for me. And then once I found an idea that I liked, I asked AI to help me come up with the concept and the rules, and then I just converted it into a presentable PowerPoint. The students absolutely love these types of activities, and honestly, they can be hard to think of yourself. Like this Amazing Race ones, I had students going through the classroom, solving these clues, working together. It was so awesome to see. So if you're someone who has heard this before, make sure to try out my tips and you are never going to hear that again. We make videos every single week helping math teachers use AI. So if you're interested in learning more, check out our other videos, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you in the next one.